latest rules for entering the United States, Travel Television talks with Customs and Border Patrol. Many homeowners found that the helping hands of strangers started the process of rebuilding. We'll visit with a church group who has come to help in the New Orleans. Volunteering for the rebuilding effort in the Gulf Coast is part of a family vacation. We'll talk to two of those volunteers in this episode of Travel Television. Realtors lends a hand in the Katrina rebuilding effort. In this episode, we'll hear from a volunteer from Arkansas. In Travel Tips, we'll learn about a website that tracks the existing disease outbreaks around the globe. All of these stories and this episode of Travel Television. And now, on to our first stop.
For only $20 million, you could be the next traveler on the space shuttle. Space Adventures has led the charge for those yearning to be the first to travel, not only out of the hemisphere, but to outer space. Their plans for a suborbital spaceflight are not just science fiction anymore. This innovative company expects to start taking reservations soon for an out-of-space travel experience. Eric Anderson, their CEO, explains.
Space Adventures is a space travel company. So we provide space experiences on Earth and actual flights into space. We're the only company that's taken tourists to space so far. Our clients are the ones who most of us have heard about, who spend $20 million to go to the space station. And we've had a few of those go, and with several more coming. We also provide, as I mentioned, space experiences on Earth, things like zero-G flights and launch tours and astronaut training. And we've built our reputation by always providing new and exciting space programs to as many people as we can. One of our future programs, which is called suborbital flight, will be able to provide those people with an experience to go to space for a few minutes and earn their astronaut wings at about $100,000 per seat. So that's an experience that instead of just having one or two people per year do it, like the $20 million flight, we could have thousands per year do it. The traditional rockets that we even use now for our orbital program and even our voyage around the moon are expendable rockets that are built and used once. They're not very different from what we flew back in the 1960s. And these new types of vehicles that will be for suborbital flights, though they won't be able to take you to orbit, they will be able to go up and down over 100 kilometers altitude where you can see the Earth and float weightless, and will enable Space Adventures to provide those kinds of experiences at a much lower cost. As the whole world watched the space race, companies talked about one day being able to take tourists to space. In fact, Pan Am was even selling tickets to the moon about 30 years ago. But we just thought, my co-founders and myself thought that it was the right time to create a company, that the technology would be available and the market would be big enough, and someone just needed to go out and do it, and that's what we've done. I think there'll be more growth at the upper end of the travel market, the affluent. But I think that global travel and tourism is one of the biggest businesses in the world, and it will continue to be that.
Friends and neighbors come to help in the Gulf Coast. Estimates of volunteers in the first year exceed 500,000. The scope of the problem will need twice that number in the next year. Hear how work on the Gulf Coast is part of a mini vacation.
Well, we're on a mini vacation here to help everybody build a beautiful new playground. And, sometimes you get tired of going to the beach or going to New Orleans, and got to help the people that need the help around here. And we've got a lot of friends that live in this community. Actually, they live like 2 blocks away, and they said, come and help. And we said, sure. And hopefully it's going to be a beautiful playground when we're all done. And it's a great way to spend some time, and everybody should do it.
The desire to volunteer is often a family activity, as the participants speak of their benefits of their experiences.
My name is Elise Townsend, and this is my daughter, Susan Shobin. We're from Watchung, New Jersey. We came down here for the week, and the reason that we came was a friend of ours had come down with 20 people from Watchung and had said it was a fabulous experience, that there was a lot to be done, and encouraged us to go. So we came down and we hooked up with Hands On in St. Rose Church. which has been a phenomenal experience, and that's it.
To see volunteer stories, go to www.projectkatrinavolunteers.net. I'm speaking with Kelly Clunt, the spokesperson for the Customs and Border Protection Agency on international travel. Kelly is going to tell us how we can apply and what documentation we need to acquire the new passport.
Yes, there's a new requirement that went into effect as of January 23rd of 2007. Everyone flying into or returning to the U.S. Will need a passport to come into the country, and this is a change. Previously, Canadian citizens, U.S. citizens, and Bermudians did not have to present passports. It is for air travel only at this point, which is important to note. It will be implemented in the land and sea environments as soon as January of 2008.
Well, where can I apply and how long will it take before I can get the new passport?
The turnaround time is 4 to 6 weeks. Travelers can visit travel.state.gov to find out where the closest facility is. There are actually, thanks to the U.S. Postal Service and the State Department, there are over 9,000 locations nationwide where individuals can apply for a passport. They are $97. They're good for 10 years.
The new passport has technologies that require an electronic chip with personal information embedded that might be vulnerable to theft. This could potentially violate a citizen's privacy. Is this causing any concern for the agency?
The State Department has incorporated several privacy safeguards into the new e-passports that do contain a chip with the passenger's biographic information, your photo, and your name and date of birth in that information. And specifically, they have incorporated precautions as a result of concerns expressed. And privacy is of the utmost importance to both the Department of State and Homeland Security. So they'll continue to maintain those very high levels of privacy precautions.
Well, I guess for any more information, we can always go to the internet and check out your website, right?
Absolutely. cbp.gov and travel.state.gov.
Great. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank you.
A real estate agent lends a hammer to the rebuilding effort in the Gulf Coast.
Immediately after the hurricane struck, Habitat for Humanity, an organization with a long history in home development, founded in Americus, Georgia in 1976, began a project called Operating Home Delivery to help displaced low-income families in the devastated regions of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama rebuild permanent housing as part of the region's long-term reconstruction. The plan for Habitat is to build a total of 1,000 homes by the end of 2007. 400 have already been completed. Habitat, since its inception, has built more than 200,000 houses in nearly 100 countries. We visited the Habitat building project in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, where Habitat is constructing a blitz build. The majority of volunteers in this project this week are a group of real estate agents from Arkansas.
Hi, I'm Karen Krausen. I'm the president for the Arkansas Realtors Association. We are here in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, helping out with the Habitat for Humanity build here. In one area that Habitat was able to purchase some land and build some homes, we actually were able to participate this week with a blitz build at the house behind us. Our group arrived from Arkansas Sunday evening. I brought 20 realtors with me from the state of Arkansas who took off work. We're all self-employed, independent contractors who sell real estate for a living, and yet it was important for us as a part of our state association effort, along with the National Association of Realtors, to participate with Habitat in rebuilding the Gulf Coast region. Our national president, Tom Stevens, developed a program in January of this year called Operation Gulf Coast Recovery, and the Realtors Associations from all across the United States each gave $70,000 to participate in this effort of rebuilding the Gulf Coast. We stayed at Lanyap Presbyterian Church, which offers very reasonable housing for us to stay. It's kind of a bunkhouse type facility. They offer 3 meals a day, Habitat for Humanity, though, when you come and work with them, they do provide breakfast and lunch on site for the build, so you usually don't have to worry too much about where you're going to get your meals with them. And like I said, most of us just took off and headed this way. It was so important for us to be a part of this. It was important for me in our state, since we're neighboring to Mississippi, to come help our neighbors to the south in rebuilding this area. And so 20 of us took off from Arkansas, came here, and we've been working this week in rebuilding. We've met Evelyn, whose home that we're building right now in the Blitz build, plus Dawn, who also is a realtor next door. It's very exciting for us to be a part of this rebuilding effort.
To see volunteer stories, go to www.projectkatrinavolunteers.net.
Now there is a site where you can check on the incidence of diseases and health outbreaks around the world. Health Map was created by Clark Fry-Fed and John Brownstein, who work at Children's Hospital in Boston. It offers a comprehensive review of infectious diseases globally. The site displays a series of Google Maps that are highlighted with red, orange, and yellow markers indicating health alerts. Visitors to the site can view information either by region, country, or disease. As you scroll the map, alerts will pop up on the screen. In this instance, we pause at Burkina Faso for an important alert about meningitis. Click on the headline and get all the details. An article from ProMed, a service of the International Society for Infectious Diseases, reveals that 800 people have died from meningitis in Burkina Faso. Website visitors can also use the scroll down section to check the status of specific diseases. Information on the site also covers alerts issued by the World Health Organization. So before you travel, check out www.healthmap.org.
Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis affect 1 million Americans by attacking their digestive system. Our son Marvin is one of them. As a mother, I know the devastating pain and suffering these diseases can cause. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America is searching for the cure and empowering patients through education and support.
For a free booklet, contact us at ccfa.org.
Help us cure Crohn's and colitis.
Hi, Mark Murphy here, on location from New Orleans, from the National World War II Museum. We're making a stop here because many people don't realize that this phenomenal museum is right here in the heart of the city of New Orleans. It's an interactive museum. It gives you a real feel for the battles that took place during World War II. It covers everything from the Pacific Theater to the European Theater, and with a $300 million expansion is going to get into every theater of war that took place during World War II. Right now, today, you have the museum divided into two main theaters, the Pacific Theater and the European Theater. What you're also going to notice is they've been able to bring in literally an aircraft like the C-47 that was literally flown here, landed at the airport here in New Orleans, was brought in. They actually took the wings off to bring it in, and now they reassembled it, and it's hanging from the ceiling. This C-47 was actually the workhorse of the World War II. It carried troops, it carried supplies, it could even carry a Jeep. We're going to take you into the museum, show you around a little bit just to give you a flavor for it, but your clients are literally going to need 3 solid hours to experience this museum the right way, and many more hours to experience it once the $300 million expansion is completed. Mark Murphy here with Nick Mueller, President and CEO of the National World War II Museum, which we're standing in right now. Nick, we just spent some time going around the museum, and we're going to share that with the travel agents. Tell me a little bit about the history of the museum and some of the plans you have.
Well, this is a museum about a celebration of the American spirit. It's a whole story of World War II, and it's a story that is epic in proportion. We like to say this is a museum as epic as the war that we honor. This was the turning point of the 20th century. It affected everybody in America, and it was a global conflict that affected most of the world. 55 million people killed, more buildings destroyed than any time in human history. And it was the dividing point in the 20th century between the forces of dictatorship and the forces of democracy. And this museum has become, in its short 6-year life already, one of the great destination attractions of this city.
Absolutely.
80% of the people who come to this museum said they decided to, they're from out of state first of all, and they are coming here, they said, because they heard about it. It's almost a pilgrimage that people are coming here, and they decided to come here before they even visited the city. So we're excited about that, and we have galleries on the Great Normandy Invasion, of course, and Operation Overlord, and all the Enigma machine and the secrecy behind all of that, and the parachute drops and the beaches of Omaha and Utah.
And it's kind of interactive too, because you can actually hear the oral histories of some of the individuals who experienced the war.
Exactly.
And I understand you've captured hundreds of thousands of those oral histories.
Well, not hundreds of thousands, but in the thousands. And Stephen Ambrose was my dearest friend, and he and I started this museum together. But he collected these oral histories, and they're interspersed throughout the museum, and it's the signature of this museum. It's a personal level. It's not a museum. We have the weapons and the boats and the tanks and so forth.
But you can actually hear from the individuals.
You can hear from those individuals what they were doing when they opened the gates of the prison camp at Dachau. You can hear what happened when they hit the beaches in Omaha Beach, or dropped in as paratroopers, or the D-Days of the Pacific and Iwo Jima and so on. So those personal stories, and every artifact that we put in the exhibits has a personal story behind it. It's not like we just flood the whole wall with a lot of weapons and helmets.
Right.
We have artifacts that have compelling stories, and we try to bring that to the public. And that is what is so attractive to men and women and children and people of all ages.
So it really is. It's very well done. Clients are going to love it. It's very stirring, so something that you want to include on every trip for New Orleans.
Everybody who comes to New Orleans wants to be here, and people who haven't come to New Orleans recently should come. So first of all, just to come to New Orleans, we'd love to have the visitors, but if they come, they should come to see this great museum.
Transportation Security Administration has the latest guidelines for airline travelers. The TSA.gov website is where you can find information on the Traveler Identity Verification Program or other expedited security clearance issues, which airports have premium traveler programs, and what is the latest on how many ounces of liquid you may bring on board. For travelers who need additional information for medical condition exceptions, the TSA website should be your first stop.
Coming up next, bringing hope and help to one family in New Orleans, courtesy of Catholic Charities. We'll hear from volunteers on Travel Television.
In 1990, Catholic Charities USA Disaster Response Office was established to coordinate the Catholic Church's response to disasters in the United States. The national relief effort works through a network of local agencies that take the lead role in developing a long-term plan for rebuilding their communities. Since the hurricane, the Catholic Charities has raised and distributed over $160 million, touching the lives of more than 1 million people. They have provided more than 50 million pounds of food, and through more than 110 agencies, recruited a pool of volunteers from churches around the country who have traveled to the Gulf Coast to help. Let's look at one of those efforts.
Is this everybody?
No, they're coming.
They're coming.
They're coming.
Oh, you got one big strong one, I know that much.
Oh, yeah.
Big
got a little guy.
Yeah.
It's a big house. Oh yeah, I have a 30 years collections of stuff in here. That's my whole life.
Is this everybody? Oh, this is one more person. Is it okay to take pictures? Yeah, sure. Miss Purcell, is it okay to take pictures? Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. Guys, this is Miss Diana Purcell. This is her home. Miss Purcell, this is St. John the Evangelist. They're from Indiana. Okay. They came down here to help you out.
Thank y'all.
Miss Purcell renovated her home. She's very proud of her home right before the storm. And she was also a collector of
antique
dolls. And she has a lot of family heirlooms that she would like to see if she has them here. Lori and Elaine will be going through the home and figure out the best way to organize you guys. It's going to be kind of tight at first. The Army Corps of Engineers does not want us to bag anything, so we take the belongings and the small things, and we put them in the garbage cans, and we just dump it out on the curb, unfortunately. There's limited space, so we may start on the other side. Do you know if they began work on the home across the street?
It's okay.
It's okay?
They're all good friends, neighbors of mine. They know
Okay.
I'm the last to gut on this side,
Okay.
except one or two. But they know. I've talked to both of them. They said I could put whatever I want on next door.
Okay,
They no problem. They got a house over on another street. That was their mother that died. So we could put in front of his house, this house next door. I figure across the street so much carrying. We can load in front of both next door neighbors.
Okay,
with
great.
no problem.
We have to do it between the sidewalk and the street. We
Right.
go out
Or
about
the guy on the
street.
corner, because he's died, the man on the
Okay.
corner. And Mr. Comer's sons live out of state, so they're not worried they're going to eventually bulldoze, they said.
Okay.
So they said I can use whatever I need.
Okay, great.
You know, so.
Thank you. And we're going to point out the main water drains that we ask that you guys do not cover, because they're coming in with the bobcats and digging them up and breaking up the water mains. We waste about 85 to 100 million gallons of water a year.
The water drain is right here by that little green thing that's on the front lawn. That's one. Across the street's another. And then in front of Mr. Stokes' house next door, a little toward the corner.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Those are the only two you got to worry about.
Okay, and we are going to be turning off the main water to your home.
Okay, that would be on the front corner, right on the front street, right by the
Yes,
green
ma'am.
thing, the little round meter.
Okay, because we found the valves are corroded, and sometimes we
Oh,
take them out, take out the sinks and everything.
Okay.
We find that they leak anyway.
Okay.
So we're going to turn that off for you guys too. We make sure that the electric and the gas are all turned off. Safety.
They took the gas meters out, so gas
Right,
meters
no
gone.
gas. Excellent. So Miss Purcell's going to be in this room primarily, and we're just going to be passing through. If you guys see anything salvageable, just ask Miss
Just
Purcell. or
put it on the
just
side
put it on
here
the
and we'll
side.
dig into it, and my friends and all, my girlfriends and all, we're gonna go through it and then we'll throw trash up here. You know, I mean, there's nothing more else they can take. I got a dumpster in the backyard now.
Oh.
There is a dumpster.
I saw that. It floated in.
It took its wave, you know, so
treated
I got a dumpster in the backyard. It took my pool out the hole, you know, it floated away, so. And all my little trinkets of floating creatures, you know, my Nemo and all my turtles and all my little fishies. We found some of them now, but it's just, you know, horrendous. It's been hell. But, you know, God sent me you guys, you know, and it meant so much to me, you know, that y'all worked with me on this because I've been sick, health-wise, you know, and
well, you've taken care of people in the past, and now it's time for people to help you.
Yeah.
And now it's time for us to help you out. Yeah. So we're going to have one person working outside, too, to help organize files. That way when somebody comes out, you can direct them where to go to help speed things up.
I got ice water if y'all need it in the ice chest, if y'all need
Thank you.
bottled water,
Thank
you know,
you
yes.
very much.
And
I'm just going to take a
sign
inventory.
it.
Yes, ma'am. It's a release of liability form.
I've got it down everything. I had people in here, all new studs from termite damage. It was horrendous of damage I had in here. And, I mean, I had just finished this and all, like I said, all new, the bedroom furniture is unbelievable. I've got doll collections, 30 years old, $2,000 piece dolls just in ruination. I got collections of stuff that's over 100 years old, an antique dresser in there that was a King Edwardian, and it's just in pieces. I just cannot believe what water can do.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The destructive force of it. If anything looks salvageable, we'll put it off to the side in here.
That's why we cleaned this room out. We said, well, give y'all help in here.
Y'all did a lot of work, so I came in here before and I kind of looked through the window.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
It was horrendous, yeah, but we got in here for the last week and we'll be coming 2 and 3 days. That's about all I could stand.
These are our pastor blessed, and they sent us here. He sent us here, and our whole parish is here to support you because we brought food and all kinds of things for your community. And so here's some blessed crosses for you and your brother.
Thank you so much.
So now you're part of our family too.
Thank you. Thank y'all very much.
In that room, okay. Yeah, and this room is. Did you say for that? Yeah. Separate. Food has its own pile.
family. So y'all welcome to come down here, and when I get back in action, I'm gonna make sure y'all come. We're gonna have a big feast. That's right. That's right.
We'll be back.
That's right. We will be back because I'm staying in Louisiana. I'm not leaving here.
Thank
So.
you.
Overall, everybody's coming back on this street because you ride down the street, you see a trailer in the yard, you see the house being gutted out, or you see a sign that says, I'll be back all the way through, you know. And the only reason people are not back right now is because they are afraid to come back because of the hurricane season. But as soon as November the 30th roll around, people will be coming back to move in their house and start working on it. I don't want to do anything to my house, you know. Like I said, I need to put a roof on the house and do a lot of work, but I can't do anything until after the hurricane, if I get my money from the insurance company. And that's basically what everybody else is saying. They don't want to lose any money right now, and if a hurricane came today or tomorrow, they don't know where to go after the hurricane passed. So this is basically what you see, you know. People don't want to just invest dead money until after the hurricane season. It would take a chance after the hurricane season over to get back in their home, you know. I'd like to be in my house about March, April, Easter, you know, if it's possible. But if it's not, I'll have to wait until time comes. But we're coming back, you know. Like I said, everybody I talk to coming back, and the people who are not coming back, they don't have anything to come back home for because they don't have a home. They were living in apartments. But people who own homes, this neighborhood you're standing in right now is upper class black neighborhood. These are the people that was doctors, lawyers, teachers, principals, nurses, bank collector, bank teller. So they had good jobs. You know, this is the backbone of part of the city. It's called New Orleans East. And this is the newest neighborhood have been built in New Orleans.